From the famous Harry Potter to the ever-loved Game of Thrones, whenever anyone tries to adapt a book storyline to a TV show or a movie, it often fails to live up to the expectations of the fans. And that might be the case with the popular Netflix series Bridgerton. Based on the book series by author Julia Quinn, the TV series does move against the book's actual storyline, which, in all fairness, is expected, isn't it? But some were not exactly happy with how things turned out, while others thought it was the best thing that happened to the books. Let's take a look at the biggest changes so far in seasons 1 and 2. There are gonna be spoilers ahead, so beware. Daphne's debut in the elite society in season 1 focuses primarily on the first book in the series, The Duke and I. The thing that sort of took away a bit from the character's personality was that she was not new to the courting scene, and not exactly a diamond of the first water, as the show might have you believe. It turns out that no one wanted to marry her the year before. Due to this, she had to enter again. Can you believe her not being able to find a guy as gorgeous and smart as she was? But at the same time, if they had added it, it would have been another layer to the character, that even if some eligible bachelors didn't like her, it didn't mean the fault was in her. What do y'all think? This brings me to her arrangement with the Duke. It seems what started as a secret in the show wasn't exactly a complete secret. Anthony, her elder brother, knew about the fake relationship between the two and also agreed to it. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? No way Anthony from the show would even remotely consider this idea. He was too overprotective. Well, it seems to be true. He did put up conditions though, which were of course the same as they were in the show. And then there was the highly debated scene between the It couple. Remember the scene where they try to make babies? But not really, because the Duke doesn't want children. And then Daphne, being dumb, figures out what's happening, surprises the Duke by being clever, and continues despite him saying no. Yeah, it was messed up for sure. I agree with y'all. Well, it turns out that it's much worse in the book, because the Duke comes home after drinking and has no idea what's happening. Daphne exploits the situation and does what she wanted all along. Jeez, man, this has got to be the worst thing I've read all week. But at the same time, don't you think the show managed to dial it down a notch? It did spark an endless discussion over consent and intimacy. But imagine if they did it exactly as it was in the book. The show would have been canceled. But the biggest shocker was the unveiling of the person behind Lady Whistledown. It seems in the books this elephant in the room isn't revealed until the 4th novel. The directors decided to do this to make it more fun for the viewers, the ones who had read the book and the ones who hadn't. They wanted to keep everyone on their toes guessing who it would be. That's why it came so early on, so that no one could foresee it. Don't y'all agree it made for the perfect cliffhanger to season 1? Another thing that caught the audience's attention was the fact that the Duke of Hastings and Lady Danbury were black instead of white. Well, this is one change that I don't mind, and it seems it added more to the show and, dare I say it, made it better. We all know when we think about the Regency era, it's all white folks with their puffy gowns and whatnot. But the show's directors wanted it to be more modern and, well, more interracial, I guess. You might not believe it, but the Duke is described as having icy blue eyes. Now, wait a second. Icy blue eyes on Regé-Jean Page? No thank you. I'd take a pass on that. Our Prince Charming was oh so handsome without them. Don't y'all agree? It seems this wasn't the only thing they replaced in terms of representation. Kate and Edwina Sharma were Sheffields from the English countryside. It was high time that South Asian characters were given the limelight, and I personally love Kate Sharma. I'm sure y'all have the same feelings. Her character was so intriguing and intelligent. The show also gained an advantage because the South Asian community watched it. Their culture being represented was a fresh take on things, you know, instead of always being shown as the bad guy. But at the same time, the book fans seemed to hate it. They thought it changed the character and her storyline for them significantly. I guess that was expected. If you've become so invested in a character, these things sort of mess up the image. This brings us to season 2. The plotline was completely different from the books, and the fans weren't happy about it at all. To be honest, neither were the viewers. It seemed for the book lovers, readers, the story of Anthony and Kate was the Bridgerton story, meaning the favorite among all the other 8 novels. But their opinion is that the spark shown on screen between the characters didn't even come close to doing justice to how good it was in the book. And the three-way relationship that was created between Edwina, Kate, and Anthony wasn't even that much of a big deal, cause it turns out Edwina never really liked Anthony. The book fans thought that if they had focused more on the couple, then maybe it would have built a better story and wouldn't have to look like it was required of the two, which it pretty much felt like every time a romance scene came up.
Particularly important to me.
Also, the fans hated the follow your heart drama. Wouldn't y'all raise a glass to that? It seemed like the whole season revolved around everyone telling everyone the same old thing. I mean, for God's sake, bring something new to the table. The writers could have done so much more with the characters, like giving them more depth, explored Kate's background, who was the main character, not her sister. In fact, in the 3rd episode, when the bee lands on her chest and she tries to push it away, it causes Anthony to have a breakdown because of the past trauma with his dad.
Oh, this bloody... Ah!
Father. What is it?
But in the book, it ends up stinging her, and Anthony tries to suck out the poison, fearing it might kill her. That's when his mother and Lady Featherington catch them in what looks like a questionable position, resulting in a bond of marriage being forced upon the two. Oh man, this was the scene where the two are alone for the first time. Don't you think if the story had been given the chance to build from here, maybe the characters would have evolved in a better way? But there were fun parts also, like the character of Theo Sharp. OMG, I loved him, didn't y'all? Finally, a character who wasn't all macho and different from the rest of the supposed Prince Charmings. Guess what? He wasn't even in the books. Can you believe that? Come on. Now, if the show put the same thought process in the rest of the characters, maybe we'd have ended up with something brilliant. But what happened between him and Eloise was sad. I bet y'all wanted it to be explored more, right? I did too. Well, that's all we've got on the changes between the books and the TV series. And while not all are the best, we can't agree that some do seem to brighten up the show. See you next time.